It was a hot Tuesday afternoon in Aba, the kind of heat that makes even the trees beg for breeze. Binta stood in the middle of Mama Ebuka's small kitchen. Her wrapper was tied tight around her waist, sweat resting on her forehead like stubborn visitors. In the big black pot in front of her, soup bubbled slowly. Crayfish danced with bitter leaf. Palm oil floated like sun on water. The smell was sweet, like market day stew, but not all sweetness comes from love. Binta's hands were shaking, just a little, not because of the heat, but because of what she had done. She picked up the wooden spoon and stirred the pot gently, round and round. Then she leaned forward and scooped a small plate, just one, Mama Ebuka's own. Before she brought the soup down, her hand reached for something hidden under the sink. A small can, yellow and red, an insecticide. The cap clicked softly as she opened it. Just one spray, she whispered. Her heart was beating fast, faster than a drum in a village festival. She raised the can, held her breath, and sprayed. Pshh! A fine mist. It landed only on Mama Ebuka's plate. Then she covered the plate with a lid, placed it neatly beside the swallow, and wiped her hands with the edge of her wrapper. Her phone buzzed. She looked back quickly to check if anyone was there. The kitchen was quiet, except for the sound of boiling soup and the radio playing loudly in the sitting room. She pulled the phone from her back pocket. One message. Have you done it? She mustn't see tomorrow. Unknown number. Binta stared at the screen. Her eyes didn't blink. She deleted the message instantly. Then she walked back to the pot, turned the gas low. Behind her, Mama Ebuka's radio was shouting news. Another protest breaks out in Owerri. But inside this house in Aba, something bigger was about to explode. Binta stood still for a moment. The kitchen was hot, but her body felt cold. The soup was ready, and so was she. Ebuka was the kind of man every mother prayed for, tall like a palm tree, voice soft like church hymns, smile clean like new chalk. He wore white shirts that never wrinkled and shoes that always shined, even when the road was dusty. He had money, he had respect, he had peace in his heart, but he had one problem: his mother. People said, Ebuka is too good. Why is he still single? But he wasn't. He had married, not once, not twice, but 6 times. First wife came, stayed 11 months, and left. Second wife came, packed her load after 7. Third stayed just 9. Fourth, 5, and 6. Same story, different faces, same ending, and all fingers pointed to one woman, Mama Ebuka. Mama Ebuka was the kind of mother-in-law women prayed to God to take before they ever married her son. She was never satisfied. She lived in the same house with her son, always, from the day of his first wedding till now. She was the gatekeeper, the judge, the lion that slept with one eye open. Her mouth was fire, her eyes sharp like blade. She didn't shout in public, number. She smiled when people were looking, but behind closed doors, she turned the house into a battlefield. Nothing pleased her. She was the kind of woman who would see you sweeping and say, "You don't know how to hold broom." She would see you cooking and say, "This soup smells like engine oil." Even if you prayed, she would say, "Are you shouting at God?" If the woman swept the floor, Mama would say, "You have scattered everywhere." If she didn't sweep, "You are lazy. Do you want the house to look like a goat shed?" No matter what a wife did, it was never enough. Even when they smiled and tried to please her, Mama would still find something wrong. But her biggest problem was pregnancy. 1 month into the marriage, she would start looking at the woman's stomach. By the second month, if nothing was showing, she would say loudly, "This one is empty. She's just eating and sleeping." Then she would start her tricks. She would bring prophets to pray in the sitting room. She would pour holy water around the bed at night. She would ask the wife, "Have you done abortion before? Say the truth." And the worst part, Ibuka would keep quiet. Sometimes he would even nod. "Mama is just concerned," he'd say. But her concern was like smoke. It entered every room and made everyone choke. Mama didn't want just any wife. She wanted a daughter-in-law who would cook like her, clean like her, obey like a child, and still give her grandchildren in the first month. She wanted everything, but no woman could give her that. And because of that, they all left, one after another, like water slipping through a basket. Amara was the first. She came like morning dew, software, quiet, pure. Her voice was small like flute. Her eyes always looked down. She greeted with both hands. She tied her wrapper well. She was a pastor's daughter, the kind of girl every mother should love. At first, Mama Ebuka smiled. "She's well trained," Mama said, "not like these Lagos girls." Amara cooked without salt falling. She swept without dust rising. She prayed every morning, every night. She even called Mama Mommy with respect. For 1 month, peace stayed in the house. Then 2 months passed. No pregnancy. Mama's smile disappeared like rain on dry sand. She started watching Amara's stomach every morning, frowning. One Sunday, Mama brought out holy water. She said, "Drink this before you cook. It will clean your womb." Amara obeyed, but Mama didn't stop. One afternoon, as Amara was making soup, Mama poured holy water directly into the pot. "It will make the soup stronger," she said with a smirk. Then the prophets started coming. One man said he saw a dark spirit. Another said someone was hiding something. Mama asked Amara to kneel. "Confess now," she said. "Have you done abortion before?" Amara said nothing. Her eyes only filled with water. Every day became a war. The kitchen, the bedroom, the sitting room, all were battlegrounds. But Amara never shouted. She never insulted. She just kept quiet. And when the 11th month came, she folded her clothes, packed her bag, and left. No scream, no slap, no curse, just tears on her cheek and a Bible under her arm. Mama stood at the door and said, "She's not strong. She would have killed my son with silence." But Amara's silence was louder than any scream. And as she walked away, the house became quiet again, until another wife came, and this one was not quiet at all. She is, in fact, fire. Her name was Tina. She didn't walk into the house like a lamb. No, Tina walked in like thunder. She wore red lipstick. She laughed loud. She walked fast. Her words were sharp like broken bottle. She wasn't afraid of anybody, not even Mama. From the first day, Mama Ebuka tested her. "You didn't kneel well when greeting." Tina smiled and said, "My knees are for prayers, not performance." The whole house shook. Mama told Ebuka, "This one will control you." Tina told Ebuka, "Your mother won't swallow me." And so the fire began. But after 3 months, Tina got pregnant. The whole house changed. Mama started smiling again. She even helped Tina to sit down when her legs were swollen. "She will give me my grandchild," Mama said. They all waited. Then the baby came. A boy, strong, loud, healthy. People danced. Rice flowed. Neighbors came with wrappers and gifts. Mama sat on her chair, chewing cola, looking proud. until someone said, "Congratulations, Mama, another grandson." Mama's face changed. "Another boy?" she muttered. She forced a smile, but her eyes told the truth. She had 5 sons, no daughters. She wanted a granddaughter, someone she could wear beads on, someone to plait hair and call her Mama, with small voice. But Tina gave her a boy. After that day, Mama changed again. She said Tina was careless. "You hold the baby like he's a loaf of bread." She said Tina was disrespectful. "You dress like you're going to club." She even told Ebuka, "She's using the baby to control you." The house turned to war. Tina shouted. Mama shouted louder. Ibuka tried to keep peace, but his voice was too small. One night, Tina packed her bag. She held her baby tight. She looked at Ibuka and said, "I gave you a child, but I won't lose my mind." Then she walked out. Mama watched her leave. She wasn't wife material, she said. But Ibuka stood at the window, watching the mother of his child disappear. And just like that, another marriage ended. But Mama was not tired. She still believed the next one would be better. After Tina, the door opened again. Her name was Oluchi. She was a nurse, wore white uniform, walked like someone with purpose. She worked night shifts at the hospital. Mama Ebuka didn't like that. "No good woman leaves her husband at night," she said. "Only witches fly at night." Oluchi laughed and said, "Mama, people fall sick at night too." But Mama didn't laugh. Her eyes narrowed. "She's a witch," Mama whispered to Ibuka. "Check under her pillow." 9 months passed. One evening, Oluchi came home after a long shift and saw her clothes outside, folded, quietly waiting. No word, no letter. She just picked her bag and left. Then came Chiamaka, schoolteacher, tall, slim, quiet like a closed book. Mama watched her for 1 week and said, "She's hiding something." She said Chiamaka's silence was suspicious. "She doesn't talk. How do we know what she's thinking?" Ibuka's business slowed down that season. Mama pointed her finger straight. "She's bad luck." One morning, Chiamaka left before sunrise, left the key on the table, never returned. Then Blessing came. Pretty girl from Ebonyi. She spoke with village tongue, cooked with firewood taste. She was kind, humble, and smiled like fresh bread. Mama said, "You can take a girl out of the village, but not the village out of her." She laughed at Blessing's accent, mocked her soup, called her bush girl. 6 months later, Blessing went back to her people, quietly, with tears. Then came Boma, a banker. She knew money, plans, and passwords. She dressed smart, walked fast, spoke sharp. Mama said, "This one is too wise. One day, she will poison you and take your land." Ebuka tried to defend her, but one loud argument ended it all. Voices rose, plates fell, and Boma left without looking back. 6 women, one after another, all gone. The house was cold again, but the gossip outside was hot. Girls started warning each other. "Don't go near Ibuka. His mother is the real wife." And still, Mama sat in her chair, arms folded, eyes steady. None of them was good enough. But then one woman came, and she was not like the others. In fact, she is the one that will end Mama Ebuka's madness. Her name was Binta. She was not like the others. Binta was fire. She came from Lagos, the kind of woman that holds her bag tight in a crowd, crosses the road with chest high, and doesn't blink when a toot shouts. The day Ebuka saw her, she was dragging a bus conductor who tried to cheat her out of change. He smiled. "This one," he said, "can't be broken." He followed her, talked gently, spoke sweet, brought flowers, bought food. Binta was not easy. She heard about Ebuka. She knew the stories. Your house is a lion's den, she told him. But Ibuka begged. He swore Mama had changed. She just wants peace, he said. Binta looked at him, then said, Okay, but if your mother coughs, I will cough louder. They got married. The wedding was loud. Music, meat, people. Mama wore lace and smiled at guests. But at home, when the visitors had gone, Mama smiled with only one side of her mouth. She looked at Binta from head to toe. Lagos girl, she muttered. The real war had not started, but it was coming. At first, Mama Ebuka behaved. She smiled when Binta brought food. She nodded when Binta swept the floor. She even gave her meat from her own pot once. But it didn't last. One afternoon, as Binta dropped a bowl of stew on the table, Mama sniffed and frowned. This one smells like kerosene, she said. Are you cooking or burning tires? Binta laughed it off. But the next day, Mama said, You cook like a mechanic. Everything is rough. Even your soup has no respect. Binta tried to keep calm. She reported to Ebuka, Your mother is not treating me well. But Ibuka rubbed his chin and said, Just give her time. She means well. Binta blinked. Time? She's already calling my soup fuel. Every day it got worse. If Binta cleaned the house, Mama said, You've scattered everything I arranged. If Binta dressed up to go out, Mama said, Where are you going dressed like nightclub? If Binta talked, Mama said, You shout like market woman. And when Binta kept quiet, Mama said, Silent snake. It was like pouring pepper into a fresh wound. Small things, sharp words, all day. One day, Binta sat in her friend Ife's salon. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm tired, she said. Ife looked at her and said, Then stop using water to quench fire. Binta sniffed. What do you mean? Ife leaned closer. Fire meets fire. You can't beg a lion to stop biting. You show it your teeth. Binta didn't speak, but in her chest something shifted, because inside her, the fire had started to burn. One morning, Binta woke up feeling strange. Her body was soft, her stomach turning small circles. Smells became too strong. She felt sleepy even after sleeping. She bought a test kit. 2 red lines. She sat on the bed, staring. Her heart was a drum, beating slowly, then faster, then slowly again. That night, she told Ibuka, his eyes grew wide. He laughed like a child. He lifted her up, spun her around. Thank you, Binta. You've brought light into this house, he said, his voice shaking with joy. Then Mama heard. She didn't frown this time. She smiled, a real smile, with teeth. Finally, she shouted. My grandchild is coming. She brought pepper soup to Binta's room. She offered her boiled groundnuts. She even told her stories about childbirth. You must rest well. Eat soft food. No stress. Binta blinked. Was this real? Was peace finally here? Even Ebuka became softer, more attentive. He rubbed her feet at night. He made fresh juice on Sundays. The house became warm again. Month 1, month 2, month 3. The belly grew. Mama touched it and said, This one will be a girl. I can feel it. Binta smiled. Maybe, just maybe. The storm had passed. Then, in the 7th month, around 2 a.m., she felt a sharp pain, like fire crawling through her stomach. She screamed. Blood followed. Too much. Too fast. Ebuka rushed her to the hospital. The nurse shouted. The doctor moved quickly, but after many hours, he came out shaking his head. I'm sorry. We couldn't save the baby. Binta didn't hear anything after that. Only the sound of silence. The kind that makes your bones feel empty. She came home with flat hands. No baby, no smile. just darkness. Mama said nothing for 3 days. Mama didn't say sorry. She didn't touch Binta. She didn't even ask, "How are you?" She just carried her wrapper, tied it tight, and walked around like nothing happened. Days passed. Then one afternoon, Binta was in the backyard washing plates. Her hands were deep in soapy water. The sun was hot. Her wrapper was wet with sweat. From the back door, Mama's voice rose, loud like church bell. "You're a witch!" The plate in Binta's hand slipped and cracked in the water. "You killed my grandchild! You sacrificed that baby!" Her voice was sharp. It cut through the yard, through the compound, through the neighbor's window. People stopped. Someone opened the curtain. Someone whispered. Binta stood still. The water in the bowl shook from her hands. She looked up, her mouth opened, but no words came out. Mama kept talking. "Womb like yours shouldn't carry children. You're the reason he died." Binta didn't reply. She walked away slowly. Her legs felt heavy like stone. That night, she didn't sleep. She just laid on the bed, staring at the ceiling, eyes wide open, her back to Ebuka, her heart beating like drum in the village square. Over and over, Mama's words echoed in her head. "You're a witch! You're a witch!" And deep inside her chest, something broke. Something silent, but strong. The next day, Binta left the house. She didn't wear makeup. She didn't tie scarf. She just wore slippers and wrapper and walked. Her legs moved, but her heart stayed behind. Her eyes looked ahead, but her mind was far, empty, dark, heavy. She reached Ariaria Market without knowing how. The noise didn't enter her ears. The traders, the shouting, the music, all of it felt far away. She sat by a wooden bench near the pepper sellers. Then someone touched her shoulder. She turned slowly. It was Chiamaka, quiet Chiamaka, the fourth wife, the one who never spoke, the one who left without noise. Binta blinked. "You?" she whispered. Chiamaka nodded, her face calm like evening rain. They walked to a small joint nearby and sat on a bench under an old umbrella. The wind blew. 2 bottles of malt stood between them. They drank. Chiamaka didn't rush. After a few minutes, she said, "You're not mad." Binta looked at her. "I know what you're going through," Chiamaka said. "That woman, Mama Ebuka, she's not ordinary." Binta's hand tightened around the bottle. Chiamaka leaned in, her voice low. She acts like she wants to protect her son, but truth is, she wants to own him. No wife will ever be enough for her. Binta blinked fast. Chiamaka took a deep breath. I tried to stay. I tried to fight back. But she's strong, not just with mouth, with spirit. Binta's lips trembled. What should I do? Chiamaka looked around, then leaned closer. You remove her. Binta frowned. Remove? Chiamaka's eyes were steady. Poison. Just small. Just enough. Not to kill. Just to shake her. Let her feel fear. Let her fall small. Binta was silent. Chiamaka sipped her malt, wiped her mouth, and said, There's one that works. I can get it. You cook. You spray only her plate. When she starts shouting, you let Ibuka hear her. Then tell him everything she has done. Her mouth will run. Let her expose herself. The breeze blew again. Binta looked down at her drink. She didn't answer, but her silence was no longer soft. That evening, Binta came back home before sunset. She didn't talk much. She didn't sweep. She didn't greet long. She just entered the kitchen. She brought out egusi, crayfish, bitter leaf, palm oil. She cooked slowly, carefully, with the same hand that once served with love. But tonight, that hand carried a secret. The soup smelled good, the same one Mama liked. The same one Mama used to call the only thing this girl can cook well. As it boiled, Binta opened the cupboard. She pulled out a small yellow can, the same one Chiamaka told her to get. She shook it once, opened it, sprayed softly. Pshh. Only inside one plate. Mama's own. Just that one. Then she covered it, served it hot, swallow beside, water in a cup. Mama, she called, your food is ready. Mama came out with her usual look, half eye, half mouth. She sat, she ate, spoon after spoon, chewed like everything was normal. Ebuka wasn't home yet. Binta sat on the couch, her eyes on the wall clock, her ears open. 10 minutes passed. 15. Then at exactly 30 minutes, it began. Mama held her stomach. Her eyes opened wide. She screamed, "My stomach! My stomach!" She rolled on the floor. She knocked the cup down. Her voice echoed, "Binta, you've killed me. My stomach is tearing." Binta stood still. Then the front door opened. Ebuka. He ran in. "What happened?" Mama pointed. "She poisoned me. This girl wants to kill me." Ibuka lifted her, rushed outside, called neighbors, shouted for help. Binta stood in the corner, shaking, not with fear, but with something else. The seed was planted, and soon something would grow from it. The next morning, the house was quiet. No radio, no pots, no sweeping broom, just silence. Then Mama's voice came from the room. "Call everyone," she said. Ebuka helped her sit on the big chair in the parlor. Binta came out, hands still damp from washing. Two neighbors were already standing near the door. Mama sat with wrapper tied high. No makeup, no shouting. Her face was pale. Her eyes were red. Her voice soft, like a song losing its tune. She cleared her throat, and for the first time since Ebuka was born, Mama cried. Her tears dropped slow, like palm oil falling from spoon. She spoke. "I had 5 sons," she said. Nobody moved. One by one, they died. All after marriage. Her hands trembled. Amaka's wife died during childbirth. Chinonso's wife poisoned him. Obina's wife was arrested for cult. Kenneth's own ran mad and walked into the forest. We never saw him again. She paused, looked around, then at Ibuka. "You are the only one left." The room was quiet. A fly buzzed near the window. "So yes, I fight," Mama said, her voice breaking. "Yes, I shout, I monitor, I talk, I disturb." She turned to Binta, her eyes full. "I didn't hate you. I was just afraid. I don't want to bury another son." Then her head dropped. Her shoulders shook. The woman who once roared now wept like a baby. Ibuka bent down beside her, held her hand. Binta didn't speak. Her chest was tight, her eyes wet. Even the neighbors wiped their faces, because now they understood. Mama didn't build a wall out of wickedness. She built it out of fear. After the tears dried, Mama sat still. Nobody forced her, nobody begged her. She just looked at the floor and said, "Maybe I went too far." She touched her chest. "Maybe my fear has become a curse." The house was quiet. Not heavy like before, but soft, like a wound starting to heal. That evening, Mama brought out her old big bag. She folded her wrappers, picked her Bible, packed her slippers. No one helped her. She didn't ask. She tied her scarf and said, "I will go and stay with my sister in Nsuka." Ebuka stood by the door. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His eyes said more than his lips. Binta stood behind him, hands folded. Mama didn't shout. She didn't blame. She didn't curse. She just said, "Let peace enter this house. I will not block the door again." Then she walked out. Neighbors watched from windows. She climbed into a taxi. The driver started the engine, and she was gone. No noise, no drama, just silence. But this time, the silence was peaceful, like Hamatan breeze in the early morning. After Mama left, the house felt different. The rooms didn't echo with quarrels anymore. The kitchen didn't carry tension like heavy smoke. The chairs sat quiet. The floor didn't know the sound of angry footsteps. It wasn't perfect. Number Binta and Ebuka still had silence between them. Not the soft kind, but the one that holds questions, doubts, fears. But they stayed. They slept together, ate together, slept on the same bed, even when their backs faced opposite sides. Ebuka sometimes looked at Binta and wondered, did she really poison my mother? Binta sometimes looked at Ebuka and asked herself, will he ever trust me again? But love, like firewood, takes time to catch again. It started small. Ebuka brought home roasted corn one evening, her favorite. Binta mended the tear in his favorite native shirt without saying a word. One day, she smiled at his joke. Another day, he held her hand in the market. Little by little, the cracks began to close. Mama wasn't dead. The poison didn't take her life. But it took down something else, the wall she had built between them. The one made of fear, control, and pain. And when that wall fell, fresh air came in. Not perfect air, but clean enough to breathe. And sometimes, that's all a home needs to start again. I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, please like the video, comment what you learned from the tale, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more enchanting tales just like this one. Thank you.